Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are around this beautiful, beautiful world. What is ego and how does it work? I suggest that you take everything I say today with a grain of salt and check with your own intuition. Here's something I know about ego from Lori Latt and Abraham Hicks from all their books and lectures and seminars I've listened and I've been to. Every time they talk about ego, I check with my intuition and my spiritual guide. So hence, I'm asking you to do the same. We, as consciousness, incarnated in a human body, are made up of four things: our spirit, consciousness, soul, energy, awareness, whatever you want to call it. Our higher self, which is the bridge between our spirit and our physical body. And it is the higher self that helps us every time when we astral travel to return to our body. It is our ego, the third element, and our physical body. So mind, spirit, and body comes as part of those four elements. Where the ego comes from is an interesting question. Consciousness are all the different races. Humans are not a race. Same way we've got families in our human society, so are the races. They are angelic race, Pleiadians, Syrians, Arcturians, and so on. If you've heard for first time this, go on the internet and search a little bit more. When Mother Earth as a consciousness has decided to have the experience as a physical planet, she invited all the consciousnesses from all the dimensions to help her first create the physical plane, and then she decided and created with the help of all the consciousness, she created the animals, the plants, later on also the people, the human body that consciousness is entered as experience. And they came to experience the human life in the third dimension out of 12 dimensions in our grid, and third dimension as the lowest possible dimension where humans and planet Earth can exist. In order for us to survive, the consciousness and Mother Earth also created the ego with the main purpose to help us survive physically. For example, ego helps us to remember what the fire is, and that the fire is going to burn us. If the beasts are chasing us and it's going to eat us, if we swallow too much water, the chance to drown is quite big. So the memory goes in the subconscious mind, so the ego takes it out when we're close to danger and protect us from dying. None of them, the earth and the consciousness, imagine that after many millennia, the ego would independently assume an additional role, and that role is to protect us not only physically, but also emotionally. If someone hurts us emotionally, it will be hard for us, and we're going to feel it as emotional pain, even sometimes as a physical pain in the heart. So if we find ourselves in the same situation, it's better not to let ourselves be hurt again. If we fall in love and the other person doesn't give us back the same feeling, we will be hurt emotionally. So it's better not to be in love and not to fall in love at all, so we can escape that hurt. If someone insults us, we're going to feel sad, and so on. So there's so many different situations. None of the consciousnesses had ever imagined that the ego could evolve in such an extent and take that additional role. Back in 2014, I had an idea about consciousnesses, and I was working on myself, but I had absolutely no idea about the ego, the way how I just explain it, which is taken from Lori Latt and Abraham Hicks. When I started my very conscious journey on myself and my awareness, my friend Melanie and I were talking quite long hours on so many different topics. She was studying at that time to be a life coach. We had that conversation, how much of our awareness comes through understanding our own ego and choosing what to keep in our value system and what to remove because we no longer want it in our life and doesn't serve us in life. She and I both talk about how we need our physical ego because it keeps us from the physical surviving. And we also need to go through the awareness of whether the experience of something emotionally bad that happened to us is a reason to limit ourselves and refuse to experience the same feeling for the fear of being hurt again. So listening to Lori in one of her lectures about the ego, I somehow thought about that transformation back in 2014. I was working on my ego back then to realize my fear of experience things again, which I had internalized as a belief that they would hurt me. If you're gonna totally decide, up to you, if you need your emotional ego and what parts of that ego you want to live in your value system, or remove them because you don't need a fear of being hurt by someone. We often use the word ego in a total different way nowadays. We call ego when someone desire to dominate another person or someone's arrogance. In some languages, the word selfish is linked to the ego. So in those languages, the word egoists is actually the person who is selfish. If you think selfish comes from that desire to dominate, hence disregarding what the other wants. Again, I suggest that you take everything with a grain of salt. Ask your own intuition today, what is ego? I'm sending you a lot of love and a lot of energy wherever you are on these beautiful words. And I hope that video helped you a little bit to decide which part of the ego you want to use. I love you.